Oh, it's great to have 3 points back for Hull this week, and Joe House is good as well. It's finally nice to see Hull City being a team that conducts this level of housery. Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. Hope you enjoyed that Stoke result. We've got Ben, Elliott, and Matty back with us here to review the whole game. Plus, coming up also this week, we're also talking about Leeds fans are starting to post about wanting Joffy back in January and sending Aronson down to Hull. What do you think to that? I've got a few words I think these three will think to it. Plus, we're also looking at the festive fixtures. Happy holidays are right around the corner. What do we think to Hull's fixtures? How many points will we pick up? We're, of course, talking about the FA Cup draw. Who do we want drawn next Sunday when Hull's ball is drawn? And we're finally on to the letter H, of course, for Hull this week in our A to Z. Who have we got lined up for that? Right, action-packed episode this week then. Thank you very much, of course, for joining us. 20 minutes of Hull City chat. Let's start. Matty, very quickly, Ipswich game. Sum it up in less than 30 seconds.
I think we were just discussing a bit of I suppose, bit of a non-event really. I think it was two teams that were bored the hell out of us going forwards. Not really created much. I think we would have been quite happy to kind of take the draw in the end, but I think the difference was just the substitutions. Weren't they? I mean, they're bringing Philogene off the bench and Akpom. That just made the difference, I think, in the end. And yeah, I didn't think there was much between the teams, to be honest. But it was just one of those that, yeah, I think in the end it was just the quality that kind of overshone that in the end with the substitutions. So yeah, again, just kind of put it down to that. Move on. Not much between the teams, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, just move on.
okay. Now on the back of that, then there has been two losses in a row, Ben, and then you obviously started against Stoke quite poorly. Could you have gone in at half time further than one goal behind, and then just talk about what the manager did to change that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were very lucky to get away with just one goal at half time. Stoke were very much the better side in the first half, but I think we've all said it on social media, we've said it between ourselves. The amount of times that Sergei is able to completely change the team and it works. Like, we've had it a few times previously where we've been maybe a goal down or we've been under the cosh and he's brought on the right players and it's turned the game completely on its head. We've either got a result or a point from it. Um, and yeah, I think it's just credit to him because he's able to spot what is going wrong essentially and pretty much fix it. And that is literally what got us the 3 points. Mo Balumi coming on was fantastic, and he was the one that set up the winning goal and was also involved in the first one as well for Ajayi. So yeah, I think he deserves his flowers because the changes he's doing have been spot on, and we can't complain because a lot of the time last season under Sayez, I think we were questioning the subs, but I think Sergei is getting them pretty much dead on.
We'll talk about the showers elements of it in a second, Elliot. But yeah, this was Mark says praise to our manager. Dropping Hughes was a big decision, but it was the right one. He hasn't been on it the last two games. I'm sure he'll be back with a bang when it comes to it. Really pleased about the winning ways. Well done, lads. Yeah, did you agree with that, Elliot, about dropping Hughes? Was it the right decision?
It was a surprise at the time yesterday, obviously with him still being named on the bench. I think Jurkovic mentioned after the game that he had like something with his hamstring, but he still put him in the side. But obviously with him still being on the bench, the assumption is he's been dropped. But in the end, we didn't really miss him with Jai and Egan played really well and helped to obviously get the win over the line in the end. And it was, it's sort of testament to I think our squad level, especially in the centre back area where I think we've got three centre backs that we can rely on, and obviously for Mayo as well, he came on and did a job at left back. So I think we've got even if with Hughes dropping out, it was one of our key players, and hopefully he'll be back soon, and the injury is nothing serious. We've got the players to come in and make a similar impact, and we're still able to get the results and even go to a team like Stoke and get a win.
Yeah, it's incredible this fixture. The amount of times the away side Wayside wins. It's now 7 of the last 8 fixtures have been won by the Wayside. It's ridiculous. And there's some fallout after the game. Social media has been lots of Hull Stoke fans having a go at each other for lots of different reasons, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, Bill says always good beating a tin pot side like Stoke. I mean, Elliot, you were there in the away end, was it? Yeah, do you like that bit at the end where you caused a 24-man brawl with the celebrations? Do you like that side of Hull? Have you been missing that in recent years?
I think we miss aspects of that in the game and during the game to get results over the line. I don't really like to see that after the game, and with how
surely.
it went a bit. Just in terms of, I don't know, it was a bit weird because it was on the other side of the stadium to where we were, and it was all just sort of kicking off. I just think, just in terms of just leaving it on the field sort of thing, not getting any sort of silly yellow cards or suspensions from red cards, for example, and giving a reason for the club to get a fine. I think from that aspect it's maybe disappointing, but equally it's good to see we've got a team that's not willing to be up for the fight, sort of, and grind out and get a win, and not back down, because I think we've had teams do that to us way too much over the last few years. And I think also we've sort of shown that in the Birmingham away game as well, where it sort of kicked off a little bit. And I remember sort of the Oxford game, when a ball got kicked on from the dugout, and there was maybe a bit of commotion there as well. So we've seemed to have that sort of maybe a slight sort of cheeky, dirty side, but I think that's a good thing as well. And there's I think we've shown a lot better, a lot better mentality in those situations.
Okay. Matt, you love it, don't you? But I mean, you've got Ollie McBurney coming out on social media as well, winding it up, and yeah, it's good, isn't it? Bit of fun.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It is. It's pretty. It's what we have missed. We've missed that kind of that nasty edge, that nasty side of us that we need. And I know I heard a lot of Stoke fans saying we were a dirty team, but I don't necessarily think we were. I just think we were up for it in that second half and first half. We're putting some really good challenges, and yeah, I think there are elements. Crooks gets away with quite a lot off the ball, and he causes a bit of a ruckus and winding people up. And I think he was winding Zorba Thomas up as well, which kind of worked second half because he was quiet as anything, thankfully. But yeah, I think it's what we need. It's what we need if you're going to be a successful team. I think you need an element of that in the team just to kind of get you through games and get you over games. And like Elliot said, it's kind of brought the team together. They're all together. Don't think last season we would have got bullied by teams. At the end of the season, we did get bullied by Stokes and Derbies towards the end because of the players that they had. But they all seem to be sticking together. And at the end, it was great to see that it was caused a bit of a ruckus, but they were all in there supporting each other and backing each other up. So I'd love to see it, and I'm so glad that it wound the Stoke fans up because they probably deserve that in the end because they were complaining about ref all game, and he was absolutely the most biased ref to them I've ever seen. So it was good.
Let's have a talk about some refereeing decisions, shall we? Then first of all, the bench of a penalty, that's clear. I think every Stoke fan has agreed on that. The goal. So there's some Stoke fans that have said, look, there is an offside in this build-up, not to the player the ball falls to, but to the player nearest the goalkeeper, because the player moves towards the ball as the ball is floated in. So therefore, that then changes obviously Johansson's positioning, and therefore it is offside. And then there's a claim of a handball in there as well. Obviously, your orange-tinted spectacles would say otherwise, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite evident when you're watching the game and you see the analysis from the whole panel, and they all agree that it's not an offside. And the handball, they go now as the T-shirt line. So below the T-shirt line is a handball, above it is not. And it clearly hits Bellumi on the shoulder, flicks over to Ajayi, and I think if it was like a tiny frame further, you'd be able to see that the Stoke defender that is stood next to Ajayi there plays him ever so slightly onside. So that one for me is, I know it's obviously slightly biased, but for me that it can't be an offside because the defender is behind, his foot is behind Ajayi doesn't foul him in the build-up or anything like that. And I think the handball as well, it's come from a deflected shot from Gelhardt that's flicked up off Bellumi, so it's not like an intentional, he's just sort of like shoved it into the path of like the middle of the box. So I don't think there's much of an argument for that one. I think obviously there will be, but it's quite clear when you look at it and like slow it down. I think it is very clearly an onside goal.
Let us know in the comments. So of course, even if it was offside, then I think Hull deserve a few, don't they? Given some of the things that have gone against you in recent weeks.
I think on the balance of play, we probably deserved that second half as well. Because first half we were awful, but Stoke were good. But I think they were good because we were that bad. But second half we deserved a bit of luck because we actually took the game to them. So. Yeah, like you say, how many decisions last season we get deflected goals? It went in, Hughes and go deflected just after half time and stuff. So I think probably on the balance of play, we probably deserved a bit of luck because I think we were by far the better team second half and we were on the front foot. So it balances itself out. Won't it? We'll get a rubbish decision, sorry, at some point during the season.
Last week we shouted out the midfielders not doing enough, so Matt Cooks in particular, but a great game from him as well this week. So let's correct that as well. Let's shout that out. Right then, fellas, let's talk about this. I love this, yes. They know what they're doing there, Edmund, don't they? Right, Leeds fans want him back then, Elliot. Lots of growing chatter, genuine. I mean, before it's been joking, now it's genuine chatter about look at how many goals he's scoring in the Championship and look how many goals we aren't. First of all, could he do a job in the Premier League? Not that you want him to, but
I'm not. Sorry, I'm not too sure. I think he's got the potential to be a Premier League level player, but I think with the fact that Leeds at the start of the season didn't see him as a player who they thought could step up, and the fact like he needed another bit of time in the Championship, I do think maybe he's if they're sort of recalling him maybe in January, they're relying on a player from the Championship. It's maybe question marks whether or not he's going to be good enough to make the step up, because the other players haven't really, who they maybe classed to be more prepared for that level, and he's not really ever got a consistent chance for them in the Championship either. So I think it's maybe biased, but it's maybe best he has the full season here to keep developing. And I'm not too sure in that environment where Leeds are sort of struggling and maybe struggling to score that many goals, whether or not just putting Gelhardt in would make much of a difference, because I think there would need to be more sort of to help Leeds create more chances and score goals if he comes on, but he's not getting a lot of service or he's struggling to individually create at a higher level, then I don't know whether it'd be a good move for him.
Okay. Matt, if you're goal heart, as Ellis tag there says, you're happy here, aren't you? You probably don't want Bernie back, and you definitely probably don't want to go back to Leeds, I'm imagining.
Yeah, I think for him personally, it's probably counterproductive. Why would you suddenly then decide to go back to Leeds to sit on the bench? And I don't think he's good enough to start in the Premier League. No, he is. He, like we've said, he's going to develop into a decent player, but he won't get in above a Calvert-Lewin. Surely, I don't know. And not even Calvert-Lewin's playing; he's on the bench as well. So, and the other lad they've got's actually scored a couple of goals. So, for me, I think for his development and probably himself, he's probably looking now, thinking, right, I can probably get here 15 goals this season if I keep on banging on in the form that I'm doing. 15 goals, that might put me in the shot window. Obviously, we'd love to have him back, but it might put him in the shot window for another move in the summer. If it's not us, to another Premier League team, I think, what, we'll take a bit of a gamble on him. So I think for his development, he probably wants to stay. And I honestly don't. I think Leeds have probably got enough money to go out and buy somebody for 20 odd million, haven't they? Somebody else that they can go buy from an obscure league and bring him in. I think it's wishful thinking from Leeds that they're going to get him back, and he wants to come back necessarily. But it's down to him, I suppose, at the end of the day. But we'd love him to stay, and we'd love him to stay permanently if we can. So.
All right, fingers crossed that doesn't develop, and it's just Leeds Leeds fans being Leeds fans. Right, Friday night then we get to watch Hull all over again. Double Sky Sports action.
Yes.
This week it was on all the pubs in Liverpool, Hull, Stoke, because there was no Premier League. No Premier League game going on at that time. Now we get to the Borough. I need to spell Borough right though, admin. Middlesbrough fans already pointing out that on the bio. Ben, they've got a new manager. Is this a dangerous time to play them?
I think so, yeah. It's that typical new manager bounce, isn't it? Obviously, they got a good win on the weekend, and obviously they had a little bit of a dip in form with the whole situation with Rob Edwards. Then bounced back and won once he'd taken his place at Wolves. But yeah, I think unfortunately for City to have 3 very tough games in a row is going to be quite hard, because I think we'd be able to play those and get good results if it was spread out across the season. But it's going to be I know we've been quite good at home, and obviously the loss against Ipswich was the first in I think 6 or 7 league games. So we've got a good home record, one of the top, I think 4 or 5 in terms of home form. So I don't see why we can't get a result against them. Obviously they are a top side and they're at the higher end of the division, but we've beaten Stoke, and I think we've put up a good performance against teams that you'd expect to be in and around the playoffs. So I don't see why we can't get a good result.
Let's look at the rest of the Christmas fixtures as well. Favourite time of year, this, isn't it? When we have 8 games in 28 days. Visits to the MKM from Middlesbrough, as we've said. Wrexham, of course. West Brom just before Christmas, and then of course this reverse weird situation then after Boxing Day, Matty, where we play Borough again in quick succession, and of course back to Stoke, and then Hull, Stoke come back up. Do you like that across the season that there's these teams which you play twice in a month? Seems odd.
It always seems to be Middlesbrough, doesn't it? Or it always seems that we've always got Middlesbrough at the beginning of December, and then we tend to play them around the Christmas time. It is a bit strange how it kind of works out with the whatever the algorithm is on the Excel sheet or whatever they use in terms of that. But you've got to play them at some point, aren't you? So it don't really particularly bother me whenever we play them. So it's absolutely fine. I'd be happy. I'm just a little bit disappointed that we've got to kind of. I know we're at home New Year's Day, but then we've got two away fixtures, Boxing Day, and then in between Christmas and New Year. It'd be good to have a home game, but I suppose Stoke at home, well, probably 3 points to Stoke if it's anything going on the past few years. It'll probably be 3 points to them. So, we've got an away sandwich in between West Brom and Stoke. So a bit disappointed that we are at home over that period, but you've got to play these teams at some point, and there are some really big fixtures there coming up, and that will be testing the mettle of our squad and in terms of where we are. Hopefully we'll get a few more players back. Even we're looking at Matazo could possibly be back as well, which would be an absolute massive bonus if we get him back in for some of these games as well. So yeah. Not fussed. Play whoever. Bring him on. Bring it on.
Okay. Of course, before we meet again, or just as we meet again, the FA Cup draw will be taking place, Elliot, next week. So, manifesting it now. Who do you want in round 3?
I don't mind as long as it's not someone in the Championship, because otherwise it's quite boring if it's just someone in the same division, or if it's maybe like, for example, maybe Cardiff, who we sort of will play regularly anyway. But I'd like maybe Premier League team, see how we go, or maybe like an away game at a League One or League Two side we haven't played for a long time, or even a home game against one of them. Just someone different. And as long as it's not Doncaster either, because the last couple of years we've had Doncaster in a cup game and it's not gone very well.
Okay, Ben? No.
Give us Liverpool. We'll get Slot out of the job.
Brilliant. We'll all become Hull fans on that day. Matty, who's your favorite?
For me, either a non-league team or a League Two team. I think away would be a good draw. It's just nice to get it's nice to go to a different ground, an away ground, and I suppose a little bit of a ground tick. So anyone kind of non-league, League Two would be good for me. I don't mind that. I'm quite happy with that. I mean, we'll probably lose like we do against Doncaster, but I'll be quite happy to have a day out somewhere.
All right. Brilliant. Finally, then this week it is the A to Z of Hull City. H, of course, is for we can't put the whole in it, but what players, past or present, or managers, past or present, or matches, get in the Hull City A to Z for the letter H. I'll let you have a chat and fight it out amongst yourselves.
Tricky one, this one. I'll let you lads go first, and then I'll unless you haven't got one, because I'm quite happy to chip in.
I would say maybe Hernandez I'd throw in, or Honeyman. I'd say Hernandez over Honeyman to pick out the two, but I'd throw Honeyman in there as well for the season he had in League One, and just general sort of being quite a well-liked player when he was here.
Ben?
I think it's hard to beat Abel Hernandez or someone like George Honeyman. The only other one I can think of, I think it's a really tough one for H. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is Charlie Hughes, but he's probably not quite at the level of some of the players we've put into this in recent weeks. So I'm happy to go with Honeyman or Abel Hernandez because they were both very, very good players for us.
Yeah, I think there's a couple more, like Huddleston could be a possible, possible person in there. Obviously, particularly scoring in the cup semi-final and that celebration where he cut his hair and he had his he cut his hair at one point. I think we had Brian Horton was a good shout in kind of the 80s in terms of a manager. It's unfortunate at the time that he wasn't really backed in the early 80s, because I think we would have possibly had a chance when. If he would have been backed in the transfer market to go and get a couple of players, we might have been in the Premier League a bit sooner in terms of that. But for that, and probably one of we've got obviously our legends with like Chris Chilton and Ken Wagstaff, but the other one along there is Ken Horton as well, who played at the same time as them. Another club legend who played like 300 odd times for Hull City. Ken Houghton, sorry. So he would be up there because I think, like say, Wagstaff and Chilton tend to get the acclaim, I suppose. But he played in the same team at them at the same time, and I know that he's held in high regard by obviously a lot of our older supporters. And I know, like my dad often speaks about him as well as part of that front three that we had back in the day that were outstanding. And I think we played in the Watney Cup at one point, Mark, against Manchester United when it used to be the top scorers in every league, and we were the top scorers in Division 2, I think, at the time, and we played Manchester United in the cup final, the Watney Cup final back in the day, and he was definitely part of that team then. So that would be another shout, I suppose, as well.
Okay, Houghton, I think, then must get in, given what you described there, unless anybody in the comments is going to come up with anything bigger. Yeah, well, you say you struggle with H, you've actually found quite a few there, didn't you? Next week they are going to struggle, so they need all your help for the letter I next week. Yeah, please, so get your comments ready for that. Right, thanks so much, everybody. Enjoy the game against Borough. Make it a good one, please, for the neutral. We'll be watching with our fish and chip suppers and our bottle of beer at the sofa on Friday night. Thank you very much, you three. See you in 7 days' time. Have a great week, everybody. 7th place. It's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen. See you next week.